if you are seeing this on YouTube, I am recording a video for my community called Mental Momentum, where I am helping creative solopreneurs overcome digital distractions. And in today's topic, I'm going to talk about how I control my phone use as a creator. And I'm going to show how I do that real quick. If I share my screen here. And we will begin. So I'm going to be breaking this down into two phases. Where I personally control my phone use as a creator by being able to maintain roughly 2 hours a day on my screen. And I break this down into two phases, the tactics and the strategies. So the tactics being, these are the quick actionable steps we could take to make our phones less distractible. And then the strategies being the long-term sustainment of being able to avoid that phone use throughout our day. All right, so the first tactic is to set up app limits. And this is one of the first things I suggest for people to start doing immediately when they want to begin reducing their screen time. So we want to go into our phone's screen time settings, set up certain app limits, is that we tap on an app, and I suggest you do this for your top 5 most used apps to set limits. You can opt for as much as 2 hours or go down to 1 hour, and I would suggest keeping it every day. And what you want to do is block at end of limit. And of course, I go into more detail on this and this Stop the Scroll course. So if you're watching this on YouTube, then I have a course that goes more into detail on some of these tactics as well. So if this wasn't clear enough, then hopefully that will shine the light in the Mental Momentum course. If you're not in the community already, then I'd love to have you there. But yeah, that is the one tactic for screen time. Another key way is to install the screen time app itself, another screen time app. So we basically double down on app limits, but instead we're going to be blocking access within certain amounts of time. So the way to do that, you can go to your app store and download a screen time focus app such as Opal or Regain. These are just some recommendations I got. And Opal I've been using for well over a year. It works rather well, and it has been able to help me further control my time from using my phone during certain hours. So I would suggest you to download one of these apps, depending on what phone you have, and go through that setup process and block access to the same 5 apps you set up for your app limits on the first tactic for your app limits during certain hours of the day. And I do about 8 to 5 or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. for work purposes. And again, if you want to know more about how to do that, how to set that up, basically for Opal and Regain, I have that shown in the Stop the Scroll course. And another thing I suggest is to clean up the home screen. So one thing I do suggest here is to delete and hide any unnecessary apps from your home screen and consolidate it down to one page. So for me right now, I do have some widgets right now. So I have a widget showing me certain tasks to do, and then the weather app, and then I have some apps that I deem mostly essential, and also categorize them into certain groups. So I would suggest you do the same. Take about 5, 10, 15 minutes to figure out what apps you deem unnecessary for you and just straight up delete it. For social media, and if you're a mobile gamer, my suggestion is to hide it and protect it by a passcode. So if I wanted to do that for Snapchat, for example, then I can give it a require passcode. And I can also hide and require a passcode too. So if I want to do that, I just set up my passcode, then hide Snapchat by hiding the app. Because I also deem it essential for my communication, so I'm not going to be deleting it outright. but I do want to give it a little bit more friction. If there's any other social media apps that you use, basically Instagram, Threads, TikTok, things of that nature, then I highly suggest you either delete it from your phone or add a friction by hiding it from your home screen and adding a passcode so that you don't easily have access to it. So that is one thing. Another thing is setting up grayscale. So you've probably already seen how my home screen looks. It looks pretty boring, and I actually make that on purpose. So you want to make your phone look a little bit more boring by going into your phone's color filter settings. For iPhone, you can do this pretty easily. You can swipe up and you can do color filter. And for Android, you go into settings, accessibility, color correction, and then grayscale, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, or if you see this in the community, then let me know if that's wrong, because I do not have Android. But the important thing is to try to make your phone a little bit less appealing to look at. Another thing we should do is keep focus mode on by default. So the reason why you want to do this is that we could easily get pulled by any notifications. If we let anyone and anything just take up our day, then we're not going to be able to focus on anything else. So I would suggest keeping this on by default. However, so if you want to adjust the settings to allow specific notifications that you need on an ongoing basis, such as your spouse, your boss, whoever the case, then you can go into your phone's screen setting or your do not disturb. Or actually, you could do this in multiple ways. So I have deep work. That's my specific settings. And then we could allow notifications from specific people and specific apps. So for me, it would be my brother, my dad, my girlfriend, and my mother. So you could do that yourself, but I would also always suggest keep focus on by default, because it can be so easy to just be pulled by notifications, and you want to pull them to you whenever you need them. So now for the strategies. All these tactics are great and all, but long-term sustainability throughout this, we're not going to be able to sustain this at all. The reason being, like a digital detox, some of this might consider the tactics of digital detox, and we need to start thinking that the detox bull crap is not going to be sustainable. It's not going to work, because we need to start filling our times with meaningful activities and apply certain things in our day that prevents us from being able to look at our phones in the first place. So while tactics help, they're not the complete replacement of going about your day, because you're basically saving a lot of time. Time has to be spent otherwise. So we're going to be diving into the strategies right now. Having a purpose is the biggest thing you could ever do in trying to control your time online, controlling your time from your phones, from your devices, because like I said, no digital detox will help without filling your time wisely. And having one strong enough why so that you're able to fulfill your day with meaning is everything. Because you want to give yourself a reason to be excited to tackle day, right? You don't want to be going about your day not knowing what to do, and the moment you don't know what to do, your brain is going to go to the path of least resistance, and the path of least resistance for people oftentimes is our phones, automatically, subconsciously opening up our apps and scrolling on social media. So having a purpose, knowing what your North Star is, knowing where to go will set you up for success in the long term, not just for reducing your screen time, but having a fulfilled life. And for me, my mission and my purpose is to help people overcome these digital distractions, because it used to be a big problem in my life. In my early 20s, especially during the peak of COVID, where I would have to be sitting in my room, my bedroom, for example, and I was in an environment where I was distracted. I would have to attend these Zoom meetings to do my classwork, and it was just not working at all. Like, not only was the classwork I was doing brutal, but I was associating my bedroom with video games and lounging around. Plus, I didn't have I didn't have purpose within the classwork I was doing. I was just doing it just to get a passing grade. I was just doing it to get a degree just to move on, and I didn't feel right about it. I didn't really feel like I had a fulfilling purpose. So I was easily distracted, not just in my environment, because environment is a lot to do with distraction, but I didn't have a reason to continue forward. And I just automatically would go into the video games and scrolling and social media, everything to distract me just about every waking hour. So you need to give yourself a reason to be excited to tackle the day. Have that mission, that North Star to get to where you want to go. Fulfill your life with meaning. So that's the one part of the strategy. The second one is to start your mornings strong the night before. So what I do is about an hour or so before I sleep, 30 minutes to an hour, have your phone charged outside of your bedroom the night before. This can solve many bad sleeping habits too. Like for me, I have much better quality of sleep because I'm not stimulating my mind or overstimulating it from the phone, because I just want to be able to have a clear mind of clarity for the next day, because I don't want to have to worry about having an overstimulated mind and like having to be woken up at night because of that overstimulation. And for me to be able to start my morning out strong by not accessing my phone the moment I wake up is huge. So one thing I do suggest is have your phone charged outside your bedroom the night before. Another thing, time block your days. Um, in my opinion, each hour in your day should be given a job. So time block certain tasks to take care of for your mornings and your afternoons and your evenings. And when you're working, either have your phone in another room or face down and away from arm's reach with focus on mode on by default. Remember, we talked about the focus mode. And of course, my exception here is that I'm talking about the phone. So I end up having my phone within arm's reach. So maybe not showing the best example, but in this particular case, I'm making that exception for this video. But generally speaking, whenever I fill my day, I want to do certain tasks that I give it a job. So my first hour of the day, and it'll probably be better if I demonstrate this with my calendar. My calendar right here. I want to see if I'm still streaming it. So I'm gonna show my window right here. Okay. So for this is how I organize my day typically. So I normally work between 7 and 5, sometimes 8 to 5. And by 7 a.m., like I'm normally waking up, and that's how I normally begin with my deep work sessions. So this is where I take care of client fulfillment, community, like my content writing, anything that requires a lot of creative thought, creativity, and it requires a lot of brain power to do what I do within this time block. So 7 to 8 a.m. Sometimes I'll stretch it out from 7 to 9. So what you see here is a general guideline of how I block my day. It's not going to be perfect. And as you can see here, I'm on the Mental Mondays meeting and doing the community fulfillment work. So this is more of my shallow work where I either record videos or reach out to people in DMs, etc. And yeah, I basically want to structure out my day, even my personal days, like for I want to do like breakfast and hygiene from 10 to 11. That's how I organize my personal day. I do a workout and I have lunch from 12 to 2. So right now I'm doing continued fulfillment for about 2 hours. And then by 4 to 5, I normally give this time for quality consumption time. And what this would be is like reading, learning from the best sources of just bringing in quality information because I believe in a strong consumption diet. And whatever inputs are, the quality of our inputs mean the quality of our outputs. And if you bring garbage into your mind, you're going to end up putting out garbage anyway. So that's normally how I structure my day. None, like I said, none of it is going to be perfect. Sometimes I'm going to stay on a task longer than others. And the way I try not to introduce my phone most of these times throughout the day, if I could help it. I'm not trying to do like anything involving the phone unless I absolutely have to. And in terms of the content engagement I do, for the record, I do it almost exclusively on my screen on my computer rather than the phone. So as some of you might know, I'm on Threads. If you're on YouTube, then you probably don't know. um, I usually have engagement time specifically on the computer rather than the phone. So I don't get any notifications on the phone. I'm just doing it on the computer, which I have higher intentions on doing. But I digress. But that is time blocking your days. Like I said, when you have a purpose, you want to know uh, how your times, what your time blocking is for your purpose. So, like I say, each hour of your day should be given a job. So the next thing we want to talk about is setting boundaries. And this is very important because if you say yes to anyone and anything, you're saying no to yourself. And if the way to do it is to let people in your inner circle know when you're available and you don't owe an explanation to anyone else. And the reason for this, you don't want to have to constantly explain yourself to your friends and family every time that you're trying to get things done. You don't want to have them if they're trying to blow up your phone 24/7. You can't use that time to fulfill your purpose. So being transparent on what boundaries you have with the phone and letting people that you care about know when you can be available or not. So for me, I generally don't answer my phone often outside of my working hours. So from family, from my girlfriend, I try to make it apparent that I work at this amount of time and you can reach out to me if within certain amounts of time. And I also try to set boundaries for when I am online with social media because I'm on Threads a lot and I try to be very careful of how I allocate my time on Threads, which is my primary social platform for building an audience, for making content and engaging with other people, building a network within Threads. So I am very cautious of how I spend my time on Threads, and I want an explanation to them if I'm not answering them on time, which you should be okay with. You should be okay with not having to respond to people 24/7. Just because you get a notification on social media doesn't mean you have to answer it at like 11:13 p.m. at night or 1:15 in the morning. You should have certain time to you should be able to make time for things that matter to you and for other things that don't. Right? For engagement purposes, yeah, you want to be able to, for a creator, yet we want to build an audience and attract people online. That's inevitable, right? Our attention is online, but the purpose here is to set boundaries and know when exactly we're going to be available or not. And for this one, this key point is to embrace boredom. And this is very important because a lot of people don't like the feeling of being bored. We dismiss it a lot. We dismiss it entirely. And being so hyperstimulated in this modern world, it's so easy to avoid boredom at all times. Think about how many people just stare at their phone, listen to music on screens, and just the moment they feel bored, they want to fill in that void. So, my suggestion here is to start practicing stillness in times of idleness. What I mean by this is find moments in time where you're just sitting still or doing something that doesn't require a lot of brain power. Like if you're sitting on the toilet, for example, eating a meal, going for a walk, waiting in line at the grocery store, things of this, like these small moments in time, use these moments to not pull out your phone. And it's important to do this because you'll be able to build back your ability to focus more and your ability to do deeper work and be more productive is going to be a lot more beneficial for you. So if you're going out, if you're driving a vehicle, for example, you could either turn your phone off, or if you've been driving and going to a destination and having your vehicle in park, you're leaving the vehicle, put your phone in the vehicle's glove box, which I know is going to sound crazy for a lot of people, but if you these aren't really extreme measures if it's necessary for you to take control of your attention. You should only use your phone in these cases for emergency purposes. So if you're using your phone as a GPS, by all means use it. Don't let that be. I'm not dismissing the phone entirely, but you want to use it for very, very specific purposes. And at best, use it for emergency purposes. We need to start understanding that boredom is okay. We don't have to be stimulated 24/7. It's okay to start putting off our phones during certain times in our day that we don't have to always consume it, right? So this is an important piece. Start applying this within your life. If you could think about a time where you're going out today, if you're going out in the grocery store, use this time to practice stillness, embrace the boredom, because ultimately, like, this is going to be a compounding effect. It might feel uncomfortable at first. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but we have to understand boredom is not the enemy here. Boredom is, in this case, stillness is what we need in society a lot more. So understanding that, embracing boredom for me has been a very impactful way of controlling my time and attention from my phone. And another key point here is to commit to high quality leisure. This is where you fill your time outside of work with activities that you often put off. So if you are used to low quality leisure, for example, not just spending time on your phones, doom scrolling on social media, playing mobile games, but even the times where you're on the computer, the times where you're just staring at a screen, playing video games, or if you're on TV watching Netflix or Hulu, whatever the case. This is all low quality leisure, and it is such an easy thing to do, but it generates little to no benefit in our lives. I do understand, like, every once in a while you want to watch a Netflix series, I get it. But if that becomes your default state, then you're missing out on a lot of good opportunities to meet new people, learn a new skill, play a sport, like connect with others. These are important things. So I would suggest putting some time in your calendar to fill your time outside of work with these activities. Think of one habit that you want to introduce in your life. Think of one skill that you want to learn. Think of like the relationships and the friendships you've been putting off because you've been spending your time on your phone. Use this time for that because it is very important. The phone can wait. These moments aren't going to last forever. If you have friends, I don't make my mistake here. I've isolated myself for years and I've lost many friend groups. And sometimes some of those friend groups, yeah, I probably would be better off without most of them. But my time in isolation, I never really connected with anyone. I would spend hours every day just on a screen doing nothing but being consumed in content and video games and binge watching YouTube. All these things are not essential in your life. You can remove so much of that. I'm not suggesting to remove it entirely. I'm just suggesting, highly suggesting, to commit to time for high quality things that are going to make a lasting impact on your life. Making memories, being fulfilled in your life outside of the things you do for work. Because like even if you love the things you do for work, like I do, I also want to be able to enjoy the fruits of my labor and the fruits of life. And you're not going to get that on a 6-inch screen or a 16-inch monitor, even. So the phone can wait, even the computer can wait at times. Commit to high quality leisure. Commit to that time to fill time with activities that matter to you. And that is it. That has been mostly how I've been able to control my time on my phone even as an online creator, entrepreneur. And if this resonates with you, then I hope you enjoyed this. It might have been long drawn, but um, I'm playing around with this sort of video format. And if you like it, then if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to hit subscribe, like. Yeah, if you like this video, then leave me a post in the comments of if this helps out with you in any case, if there's anything that you'd like to know, and if there are certain problems that I could solve for you, I'd love to help. I'd love to be able to serve you and make certain content about this because I believe that we need to start overcoming these digital distractions throughout their day and have better control with the technology we have in our lives. So thank you for that. And if you are a creative solopreneur that is trying to overcome digital distractions, then I'd love to have you in my community. It is absolutely free. Feel free to join and let me know how I can best serve you within it. So have a good one.